welcome to a new series that we like to call Behind the Code. This is a new format from Fibbl, where me, as you know from before from our webinars, together with Christian, our CTO, will go behind the code and explain what goes behind all the new features and products and functionalities that we're building. To start off with, welcome Christian.
Thank you.
Would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Kaunissaar. I'm the CTO of Fibbl. I've been part of Fibbl since 4 years back now. It's almost since the beginning, but I lead the development of the platform.
Great. And you know me from before. I usually sit here with Rickard, but I'm also working closely with Christian from a product perspective. So that's why you see in our series, this series, you're going to see us talk about this kind of topic as well. Today, we will have a slightly longer episode. We hope to keep this under 15 minutes moving forward. But today, as a first starter, we're going to go through all the different new things that we have built and explain what went behind them, what are we working on, what was the challenges, and so on and so forth. And today, we're going to focus our time on speaking through annotations, live image, and then some future platform updates that we're working on. But before we jump into that, Christian, can't you remind everyone about our vision so they have a sense of feeling of why we're doing what we're doing?
Sure. So basically, we want to make digital shopping better than it is today. We have one goal that is to make the digital product experience exceed the physical one. Now, that can be a tough challenge. It's hard to exceed the physical one, but we think it's possible in some cases, but that's pretty much what we want to do. We have discovered new technology that makes it possible to enhance the digital product experience today.
For sure. I would say that we are on a good path.
We are.
And one thing that we have worked on for a while and still working on because of some challenges that we're going to share is live image. Explain to the audience, what is live image?
Well, live image is basically a very fast 360 view of the product focused on the product listing page. So, as most of you know, we have been focusing a lot on the product detail page, where you can see most of our experiences. But we also, we have 3D models. We can make a lot of them. We can make animations, and live image is a feature where the customer, the end user, can look at all the products on the product listing page and see it's been in a 360 turnaround, basically. On desktop, it's done by hovering over the images. On mobile, it's by a simple swipe movement. That's pretty much the basics of it.
And as always, we will cut in something here so you visually see how this works on the different devices. And can you go through why we built this? What was the main findings that led us to build this solution?
Well, I think, correct me if I'm wrong here, I think we saw some inspiration. I think you were pretty much leading us to do this feature. But basically, we are doing videos, we're doing animations. I think we saw some kind of example somewhere online where we had this feature, and we just, we can actually scale this. This is an awesome feature. We could scale this. We have the 3D models. We can automate the video makings. We could scale this. Yeah. So I think that was the beginning.
Yeah, indeed. It was a Dutch sports nutrition brand. I can't remember the name of them now. Yeah, Upfront was the name. Yep. I think we can show their site as well, just to give some credit. And I think when I saw it and showed it to you, we were both like, wow, this is next level kind of product experience and e-com experience, brand experience. Yeah. And I know from speaking with all of our brands that many of them struggle with getting people from the product listing pages to the product detail pages. Yeah. I think the most of them say that average 30% is only going from PLP to PDP.
Yeah. It's a challenge, right? With the product listing page, you only see this kind of stale images, and it's really, really hard to get an overview of the product.
Exactly.
With a fast spin, I think it's 2 seconds, you can see the dynamics of light on the product moving, actually.
Exactly. And often you also have hundreds of products, right, on a PLP. So if you're curious to know more about one specific model, you have to jump back and forward.
Yeah.
Eventually, it will be too much time spent, and they will drop off to a competitor instead.
Yeah.
So we don't have any proof backing this up. We just know that it's a nice experience, and we have got feedback from our customers. But let's see how it plays out.
Yeah.
But it's a nice extension and use of the 3D models that you might not think of at first glance. But we have faced some challenges in terms of building this. Tell the audience more about that.
Sure. So basically, everything begins with an animation, right? So we have the concept of how the product should move with the shadows and the lights and everything like that. But then we are also building a generic feature, right? We are building for scale. So we want this to work on all possible clients. And all possible clients have different aspect ratios, different sizes, different positioning of the products in the thumbnails, and it needs to fit the overall look and feel of the product listing page that our clients have. So the challenge has been to fit in the animation so it actually looks like the original thumbnail. So we're actually building an interface where we kind of match the first frame of the animation to fit exactly on the thumbnail product of the thumbnails of the client. And that has been quite a challenge. I think now, when we know the solution that we are building, it feels like not a challenge anymore. But it took some time to get there.
Yeah.
We didn't really know how to scale this feature from the beginning.
And there's so many different rules and ways to have a thumbnail. So we needed to have a pretty simple solution to cover them all.
Yeah.
And I was gonna ask, what is your favorite current implementation of live image? But we only have two as for now. We think that when this episode is released, we might have launched it to the market so more people can use it.
Yeah.
But one question that I know that some brands would ask for sure is, how does this affect the website performance? Would you like to elaborate on that?
It does affect to some extent. It's content. All content affects. If you put a text file, it's gonna affect. So we always have to say that, putting content on site affects the performance to some degree. But what we have done is we have experimented a lot with compression and sizing, and also the dynamics of how the script works. So that means that when our script loads and enabling the live image, we are not going to download all the content at once. So it's a video, and video is quite a lot of content and a lot of kilobytes. But I think it's a fair performance hit, given the experience that we deliver.
Yeah. And correct me if I'm wrong, but it's also just loaded at when the user have landed on the page, right?
Yes.
So it's not a part of the initial indexing.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And isn't the videos like super optimized for mobile?
They are. That's also something that we will actually leave to the client at the end, because some products need more quality, needs more details. So it's actually impossible for us to say that, okay, this level of compression is the golden compression level.
Yeah.
That's going to work. No, it's not going to work. So the clients are going to choose what kind of compression level they want. So it's basically up to them how much of a performance hit
Indeed
they tolerate.
All right, I could go on and talk about this more, because I think this is going to be a game changer for many brands from an experience perspective, but we have to move on because we have promised that this series should be concrete, hands-on.
Yeah, I don't know where we are yet, but...
Yeah, but as a final call to action, if this is not out to the market when you see this, contact your customer success manager and ask to be put on the queue, because we already have a queue. So just let us know that you want this feature, and we will tell you more about how to technically implement it. But moving forward to the next big thing, and I think it's something that became even greater than what we could have anticipated: annotations.
Yes.
So to follow the structure, please explain that first.
Sure. So annotations is basically, that's our word for it. We are allowing the clients to put hotspots on their products and explain characteristics, specific details, qualities of their products by actually in the 3D model show like pulsing hotspots. When you click on the hotspots, you're gonna get a zoom in on that specific spot, combined with text and additional content to explain exactly what we want to communicate with that feature.
And I think you might have seen this already. If not, we can show an example from Sam's Night here. But I think when you see it, it just makes sense. But it makes even more sense when hearing your store analogy that you told me this morning. Can you please tell it again?
Yeah, sure. So we were talking about, okay, one of our whys, one of our goals is to exceed the experience of the physical store. And every time we say this, it's like everyone said, well, that's impossible. In the store, you can actually pick up the physical item. But one thing that bothers me when I actually do go to the physical stores and want to buy something, if I am lucky, the sales personnel knows everything I want to know about the product, so I can pick it up, I can twist it, turn it, and then I can ask the sales people what tell me about the fabric, tell me about the sole. I want to go running, or I want to do this or that. What are the characteristics that will help me doing that with this product?
Yeah.
And most of the time, the salespeople don't know. They're not that deep in the knowledge of that product.
Which makes sense because they have like hundreds, sometimes thousands of products.
Yeah. But sometimes they do, but most of the times they don't. But the brand owners, the designers that love their products, they know everything. Yeah. And there's so much they want to communicate with their products. And this actually enables that. So instead of, the traditional, you see one stale 2D photo, and then you have descriptions, you can actually pin points on your product and tell exactly the characteristics of that place on that product.
Yeah.
So in that case, for me, it kind of exceeds the experience of the physical store, because I can, and from the brand owner, I can actually communicate what I want with my products in a new way.
100%. And I think we also saw that pretty early on when we released Dimensions some months back, and we reviewed the data. We saw that sometimes it's like 20% of the visitors, they click to view the Dimensions when it's this kind of 3D first experience. And that was more than what we have thought internally. And that tells something that consumers with today's attention span, they're looking for answers to their questions right where they need it. So I think the store analogy that you have there is brilliant, but also if you just look from a pure e-commerce brand, it allows the customers to faster experience the product just the way they want to do it. Yeah. Instead of scrolling below the fold and trying to find an accordion tab and the specific kind of detail that they're looking for.
And it's not only the business to customer end, right?
Exactly.
We have discovered when we have demonstrated this feature, it's like we learned something that this could be much bigger than just a feature on the web shops, right?
And going back to it became greater than what we anticipated. This was something we didn't think of, but the customer told us. So a few of our customers, they have previously struggled to scale product material towards their internal sales organizations, especially the ones that are heavily wholesale driven or B2B driven, where you're trying to get another person to grasp what you're going to sell, which is not an easy thing when you have a wide collection of products that you're going to go and promote. And due to market differences and local translations and things like that, they haven't figured it out yet. But when they saw this feature, when I presented it to them for a thing for the D2C shop, they said like, wow, this is the thing we've been looking for to communicate internally. Yeah. So we don't have any proof yet, besides they have just expressed that. But it could be an even bigger thing from a B2B perspective, where you can both help the internal sell-in, but maybe also the external sell-out, because you can give your wholesalers and resellers a better, more consistent brand and product experience.
Yeah.
But time will tell.
Yeah, and we don't really know yet the effect this feature will have on the market. We just launched it.
Yeah.
We have been tuning it for some time. It feels quite mature now, so we have a couple of clients working with this right now, but most of them are in the process of, rethinking how they want to express things about their products online. So they are working on building, like adding annotations. But from those clients that we have now, which one would be your favorite and why?
Oof, it's a tough choice. It's between Samsonite and Gerne. And I think I have to pick Gerne in this case, because the way that they have really maximized the space that they have to play with to both show the visually and textually content about their products is just remarkable. And it's such a good fit with a motorcycle boot. Like, we're talking about people's security here when they're driving, and getting the driver to understand that in the most appropriate way matters even more than a regular product. So the way they have implemented it here, I think it's brilliant. It's also visible right away. It's clear how to use. They have selected the right kind of content. They mentioned the features that are valuable, not just because they're some PU plastic or something like that. On the other hand, I also like Samsonite and their implementation, because they have a toggle that is activated by default, but the user can deactivate, which is also reasonable in case someone is just looking for the visual aspect of the product and not ready for the details. But it's going to be a great fun coming time when I think people will start thinking about how they can produce content for this use case. So if you're a brand watching this, think of this for your autumn-winter 25. Think of what kind of material do we have to produce in the studio to maybe optimize for this experience at the end. But what would you say is the next step for us in terms of annotations?
When it comes to the experience, I think it's pretty mature. We released this as a MVP a couple of months ago with some clients trying it out. We weren't happy with it. We got a lot of feedback. We improved, and then, we got more feedback, and then we improved again. Now it feels quite mature. I don't have anything in mind that, I'm going to change this more than like minimum details. But we also learned that, some of the clients, when we demonstrated this feature, is like, they said, now we can scale product information on a different level. So I think the next thing is to actually improve the user interface of how do you create your annotations. Maybe we will automate translations in different markets. So you create one on annotations, and then we automatically translate them into all markets, something like that. So improve how clients create annotations, speed up the process. So that's the only thing I see right now.
Yeah, same here. And with that said, it is pretty scalable today. It goes very fast. I think we can add a screen recording here showing how to add it in the platform. But I like that we obsess about making it even more scalable. Exciting times ahead in regards to that one. And unlike the live image one, this add-on and this feature is very mature, as you mentioned. So if you're watching this and would like to begin to using this, you should have an annotations menu item when you log into the platform. If you don't have, contact us and we will ensure that you can try it out and feel and squeeze it, so to say. But the last point of some things we have changed before we go into what's coming on the horizon is some general platform UX and UI updates. And I can start by saying that we are now doing some key foundation and setting a base for how we see that the platform plays a role in the whole ecosystem. And a part of this is that we want to make it easier for our clients to find and really understand the full capacity and potential of Fibbl. And we believe that we have historically been too bad in highlighting that. We have always more or less had the same tech stack, if I may say so, in terms of 3D viewers, buttons, virtual try-on, AR. But it's now that we start to see that brands think one step ahead and do more out of that, more touch points, B2B processes, marketing processes. And I don't know if you agree with me if I say that we didn't have a platform that favored that kind of self-growth in usage. What would you say?
So in the beginning, so much have happened with Fibbl in the just last year or last couple of months. We have a bigger set of applications and experiences that we offer now, and the platform hasn't really reflected that. So we add more stuff to the Fibbl portfolio, and the platform, the interface to the clients needs to adapt to that. And also what is coming. We're not going to talk so much about that, but we have big plans, big visions, and we are setting also the foundation for the future.
Yeah, for sure. And it's not easy. It's a new type of platform. So it's not like we have 20 other vendors to take inspiration from.
No.
So that's why we also appreciate all of you guys who works with us and gives us feedback and accepts that it's going to be from time to time a bit messy, and we release something else fast just to get it out there, and then we make it and fine tune it.
Yeah.
But speaking of the future, let's jump into the roadmap. We have two things under the same umbrella, which is request models and request content. And as any kind of forecast or roadmap, nothing is set in stone, so we might change tomorrow. But from what you know today, what we've been talking about, why are we building request models?
So basically, how should I put this? But we get orders from clients to produce 3D models from products. And it's not that simple that you just, produce models for this 50 or 500 products. What we learned is that, brands are very specific of how you style the models, the products before you scan them, how you want them to be reflected in every sense. So request models, before request models, it's been a very old school email conversation. Do you want models? And then we talk on email or on phone even, or whatever channel. Yeah. So we would just want to put it in a digital, structured manner, so the clients know exactly what they expect. Yep. It's about expectation management, and also a better way to have a digital track record of what has happened.
Yeah, and I would say from my side, the goal is to decrease the time that we spent on producing the models.
Yeah.
So this shouldn't be a feature that you spend time in. It's just a helper and a way of just getting the work done, basically, which historically, like email isn't the best channel for things like that. You have long threads. So this is the first step that we take to make that process easier.
Yeah.
And I will say the same around request models, right? Or sorry, request content. What do we have on the horizon there?
Well, basically, during these years, we have learned a lot from our clients about their challenges and their problems, and creating content is a huge problem.
Yeah.
So again, we have this technology, we have these 3D models. With the 3D model, you can do pretty much everything. You can make videos, you can make images in any situation you can imagine, basically. So this is one of what we want to do. Yeah. We want to create you can call it maybe a template system, where we have templates for pack shots, videos, different kind of content, where the clients can go into our platform, select what kind of template they want and what size they want, what resolution, every detail, every aspect of a pack shot or a content photo you can imagine, basically. And then click generate, and we will, generate the images and deliver them to the client.
Yeah.
And it will be instantly. And that's a totally new thing. So instead of, ordering a photographer, setting up a studio, photographing the products, and then you're done. Now it's like, I need this kind of pack shots for my products for this occasion.
Yeah, exactly. For this occasion is an important keyword. I think how we see it is that maybe this is a potential to make it scale in a different way than before. We see time over time that brands have different departments and they're working in silos, and one have one process for creating pack shots for e-commerce, another one has for B2B, a third one has for Amazon. And the question that we want, I think, you guys to think of is like, what happens if we start from a digital sample? What happens if from the factory we start with a 3D model? What can happen then? And visualize those capabilities. So you send the products, get it in 3D, and then you scale the content across X amount of touch points.
Then you choose what will the images be, what will the videos be.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So more content and a more flexible process.
Yeah.
And we have some good examples of that today. So I think it will be interesting now when we prioritize this as an area to see if that can open up new opportunities for brands and new channels and a new way of thinking about this.
Yeah.
But all right, that was not a promise. That is just a sneak peek into what we have in our heads and what you potentially can expect in the next upcoming months. But I think we're going to close there. We keep this rather short and sweet to give you some valuable insights and an understanding what goes behind the code and behind the scenes. As we have talked about before, we want Fibbl to feel like the Ferrari of 3D platforms. So if you have any feedback on the new things that we have released, or if you have any feedback on things you think we should consider into the roadmap, let us know. You have both mine and Christian's email addresses here somewhere in the screen. And we also want your feedback on this series. This was just the first episode of many, and we won't hard code it how often we will have this, but anytime we have a valuable new thing to roll out, we meet here and we chat it and we give you an insights into the life of Fibbl. Do you have any closing words?
No, thank you. If you listen all the way here, thank you very much. And as Mattias said, every kind of feedback is gold for us. So don't hesitate to reach out.
Cool. Until next time. Ciao.
Ciao.